Goku and Gohan have reached an unimaginable level of power. And this compared to Vegeta is incredible, because Vegeta was alongside Goku, but now the difference in power is insane. But calm down, because I will show you what this power of Gohan currently is, and what Dragon Ball Super will show of Goku's son in the new saga that brings the most powerful villain ever seen in the franchise. So, without further ado, let's go. Goku and Gohan have always been two characters who, in different ways, carried the weight of strength within Dragon Ball. However, currently, the scenario has changed in a way that no one could have predicted at the beginning of the work. Father and son together became the true pillar of power of the Z Fighters. If before the center of attention fell only on Goku and Vegeta, now Gohan has returned to the spotlight thanks to the awakening of his beast form, a transformation that redefines his role on the battlefield. Gohan's beast form is not just another power evolution. It represents the essence of fury, emotion, and the unlimited capacity that he has always carried since childhood. It is as if all the latent potential that Gohan demonstrated in moments of crisis has finally materialized definitively. With this, he placed himself side by side with his father, who masters Ultra Instinct in its mastered form, becoming one of the greatest forces in the multiverse. Goku, on the other hand, reached the pinnacle of a technique that the angels themselves consider difficult to understand. Complete Ultra Instinct is not just speed, reflexes, and perfect evasion, but a harmony between body and mind, where even Goku's feelings were incorporated into the style. He ceased to be a mere copy of the god's techniques and began to mold Ultra Instinct into something of his own, with his identity as a fighter. This makes the transformation more stable and long-lasting than ever. The interesting point is that Gohan and Goku, despite sharing this position as a pillar of strength, follow completely different philosophies. While Goku continues to seek evolution as a warrior, always hungry for battles and new challenges, Gohan still carries a life that balances his human side as a father, scholar, and husband. However, when it comes to fighting to protect those he loves, he reaches levels of power that even his father recognizes as terrifying. This complementarity creates something unprecedented in Dragon Ball. For the first time, father and son became two equivalent powers, each with their own form that does not depend on the other, but which together create an incomparable core of strength. If the enemy is fast and deadly, Goku with his Ultra Instinct can deal with him. If the enemy is brutal and resilient, Gohan Beast is capable of crushing him with his overwhelming force. The impact of this within the narrative is enormous. The Z Fighters have always depended on Goku as the last hope in any threat, but now there is someone who can legitimately share that responsibility. This relieves the weight on Goku's shoulders and, at the same time, gives Gohan the recognition that fans have expected since the Cell Saga, when he was the true protagonist. It is worth remembering that Gohan's beast is not limited to just brute force. He carries a savage instinct, an impulse that connects him directly to the nature of Saiyan power, but at the same time preserves his intelligence and strategic calm. This makes him a unique fighter, capable of uniting reasoning and ferocity, something that even Goku and Vegeta have difficulty balancing. Goku's complete Ultra Instinct, on the other hand, shows that he is not just at the peak, but that he has managed to transcend the very barrier between mortals and gods. His body reacts on its own, but now his emotions and choices directly influence the fight. He freed himself from the rigidity of the technique and began to fight with his own style, which makes his unpredictability even greater. The interesting thing is to observe how, narratively, this union of forces can open doors for the future of the work. If a threat like Black Frieza really consolidates itself as the next great villain, we will have the chance to see father and son side by side, each exploring the peak of their strength. The combination of Ultra Instinct and Beast may be the only hope to defeat an enemy who surpassed even the gods of destruction in some aspects. Another point that reinforces this joint protagonism is the symbology. Goku represents the warrior's journey, the one who always wants to go beyond. Gohan, in turn, represents the inheritance, the future, the idea that power does not need to be cultivated by the obsession of battle but can flourish when the need arises. Together, they reflect two faces of the Saiyan spirit, the tireless search and the hidden awakening. This also creates a powerful emotional dynamic. Seeing father and son sharing this role brings a sense of continuity, of legacy. Goku will not have to fight alone forever as the last hope, because he now knows that Gohan can carry that flame. And for Gohan, who for a long time avoided this burden, there is the realization that he can not only take over, but that he was born to be one of the pillars that support Earth and even the universe. With this, we can state that the current era of Dragon Ball is marked by the ascent of these two. It is no longer just the story of Goku nor that of Gohan trying to distance himself from battles. It is the story of how father and son at their respective peaks became the foundation of the strength that protects everything, and this completely changes the level of the work, preparing the ground for even greater conflicts but also for exciting moments of family union in the midst of the chaos of fights. In summary, Goku with complete Ultra Instinct and Gohan with his beast form are today the heart of power in Dragon Ball. They carry the burden together, balancing experience and explosion, technique and instinct, past and future. And perhaps this is the most balanced and promising phase of the franchise so far, where destiny no longer depends on a single hero, but on an inheritance that's strengthened in tandem. Black Frieza emerged as the greatest threat in the recent history of Dragon Ball. His form is the result not only of insane training in a short time, but also of a cruel and calculating instinct that has always been his trademark. However, now he will not just have Goku and Vegeta to face, but a duo that can completely change the course of the battle. Goku in his complete Ultra Instinct and Gohan in his beast form. And in this clash, there are strong indications that Gohan will be the true pillar that will sustain hope against Frieza. Black Frieza emerged as the greatest threat in the recent history of Dragon Ball. His form is the result not only of insane training in a short time, but also of a cruel and calculating instinct that has always been his trademark. However, now he will not just have Goku and Vegeta to face, but a duo that can completely change the course of the battle. Goku in his complete Ultra Instinct and Gohan in his beast form. And in this clash, there are strong indications that Gohan will be the true pillar that will sustain hope against Frieza. First, it is important to emphasize that Frieza knows Goku and Vegeta deeply. He fought countless times against both, studied their styles, adapted to their techniques, and knows how to exploit their weaknesses. But Gohan is different. Frieza has never faced Beast in direct battle, and this alone is a huge advantage. The unpredictability of Gohan's style, combined with the incomparable brute force of his transformation, can catch the villain off guard in ways that not even Ultra Instinct could. Goku's Ultra Instinct is undoubtedly essential to deal with the speed and cruelty of Black Frieza. But against an enemy who evolves every second of the fight, just evasion and precision are not enough. This is where Gohan Beast's role comes in, which brings such devastating impact force that it can balance the scales, forcing Frieza to fight at the limit. While Goku destabilizes the enemy with his refined technique, Gohan can be the heavy blow that breaks the tyrant's defense. It is symbolic that Gohan assumes this role. Since childhood, he was the character who most scared Frieza in potential. Still on Namek, when he exploded with rage, he showed a power above all expectations, something that left Frieza himself intrigued. Now, decades later, that potential has finally matured into its definitive form. That boy whom Frieza tried to humiliate has become the warrior capable of taking him down. Another fundamental point is that Frieza is a villain who thrives on cruelty, fear, and psychological manipulation. But with Gohan, this has less effect. Unlike Goku and Vegeta, who still carry rivalries and obsessions, Gohan fights for clear reasons: to protect his family and his loved ones. This makes him immune to Frieza's provocations and even more dangerous, because when someone he loves is threatened, his power reaches even higher levels. In terms of narrative, it makes perfect sense that Gohan is the great pillar of this fight. Dragon Ball has always been about the growth of generations. Goku shone against Frieza on Namek, Vegeta had his moments of revenge against the enemy, but now it is Gohan's turn to take the front line. It would be a kind of cycle closing. Frieza, who symbolizes the Saiyan's greatest nightmare, finally being surpassed by the son of the one he so feared. The strategy against Black Frieza must revolve precisely around this duo. Goku, with Ultra Instinct, can analyze, open up openings, and reduce the villain's offensive momentum. Gohan, in turn, will be the impact force, the arm that can truly hurt Frieza significantly. This combination of precision and brutality is what makes the duo so terrifying for any enemy. If we think in terms of power scale, Frieza in his black form is a monster that surpasses even the gods of destruction in some aspects. But Gohan Beast is treated as a form that completely breaks the conventional limits of a Saiyan, almost like a unique state, just like Ultra Instinct. This means that together, father and son are not just equaling the villain, they are creating the only real chance to defeat him. The fight certainly will not be easy. Frieza is a master at reinventing himself, and his cruelty makes him unpredictable. But what differentiates Gohan this time is that he is not alone. He will have Goku by his side, and more importantly, he will have the total trust of everyone around. For the first time, it will not be Goku who carries the main burden, but Gohan. This change of protagonism within the battle is something that fans have been waiting for decades. The ascent of Gohan Beast against Frieza can become one of the most iconic moments of the franchise, not only because of the scale of power involved, but because of the emotional charge it carries. After all, Gohan will not only be fighting to save the universe, but also to end a shadow that has always pursued his family. Furthermore, Gohan's victory over Frieza can definitively consolidate his role as one of the true protectors of the universe. He would not only be the warrior who appeared in moments of crisis, but the new pillar of power that Goku himself recognizes. This would open the way for Dragon Ball to finally explore a new phase, where not only Goku, but also his son, share the role of absolute protagonists. Frieza has always been a character who represented arrogance, destruction, and oppression. Placing Gohan as the force that will face him and possibly defeat him is to give a definitive answer to the entire history. It would be like saying that the Saiyans' future is not one of rage and revenge, but of evolution and protection. And in this sense, Gohan would become more than a pillar. He would be the hope that definitively seals his race's legacy. In the end, Goku and Gohan form the perfect duo to face Black Frieza, but it is Gohan, with his beast form, who will likely be the decisive point of the battle. He will not only fight, but he will carry in his fists all the history, all the suffering, and all the potential that Frieza always tried to erase. And that is why this time, Gohan will not just be a supporting character, he will be the true pillar that will sustain the victory against the most feared enemy in the franchise. It is in this scenario that the fight against Black Frieza would become not only a battle of power, but also a war of styles. Goku would use Ultra Instinct to control the pace, dodge impossible blows, and expose Frieza's arrogance, while Gohan Beast would enter with the crushing force, breaking defenses, and pushing the villain to the limit. This alternation between technique and brutality would create a synergy that even Frieza would have difficulty keeping up with. At the same time, Frieza himself would be forced to recognize something he always tried to deny: the new generation of Saiyans. If before he only feared Goku and later Vegeta, now the name that would begin to haunt his mind would be Gohan's. Seeing the son of his greatest rival carrying such overwhelming power would be for him a defeat not only physical but psychological. The decisive moment of this battle would certainly have Gohan at the center. When Frieza managed to adapt to Goku's Ultra Instinct, it would be Gohan who would break the barriers, showing that his controlled fury and unlimited strength are capable of surpassing any limit. In that instant, it would be clear to all the Z fighters that he is not just a substitute but a true protagonist of the fight. In the end, Goku and Gohan would not only share the responsibility, but also create a joint legacy. But Gohan's role as the great pillar would be marked. He would be the proof that the future of Dragon Ball depends not only on Goku's incessant search, but also on the unexpected and grandiose evolution of his son. And this union, more than any transformation, would be the true trump card against Black Frieza. And when this battle reaches its peak, it will be precisely Gohan who will deliver the final blow, not only defeating Frieza with his beast form, but symbolizing the end of an era in which this tyrant reigned as the Saiyans' greatest nightmare. In that instant, it will be clear that the true pillar of the future is not just Goku's Ultra Instinct, but Gohan's savage and unbreakable strength. But comment on what you thought of all this, and don't forget to like. Thank you very much for everyone's support, and until next time.